There's the one thing I have left to change that would just make me so happy. Guys, we have to the top right, our teal Protoss player. It is going to be Cyan. This is going to be his map pick for game number 1. Second map will be Overgrowth, the map pick of Ting Neeb, the red Protoss player, to the bottom left-hand side of Daybreak. Thank you very much, Jornada28, for the kind words in the chat. Appreciate it. It's always really nice. Like, people, I guess it's a very weird thing because it's always nice to kind of have people say nice things, but people say nice things so often on Twitch. I think a lot of people in chat might not, you guys might not think that we appreciate it or something, or you might just think, oh yeah, like they don't, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you guys think we just don't read it or whatever, but it is kind of crazy that no matter how often people say nice things, it's always very heartwarming. No matter how many people say it, it's always really awesome to see you guys say nice stuff. So, do appreciate the support, guys, whether it's through subs or follows or views or words. It's always awesome to have you guys with me. And especially when we have a matchup like this, PvP, Cyan, one of the top Chinese players as of late, going up against Neeb, one of the top players as of late. No need to give him any sort of restrictions, just straight up one of the top players. And his PvP has always been such a great a great matchup for him as of late as well. He came into Casper Cup and he got so far on the back of some very solid PvP series. And he looked very good back then. And so right now, I feel as though, it's always tough to say. That was a couple months ago and things change, metagames change, his playstyle changes, his confidence changes, his form gets out, maybe he's out of shape, I don't know. But I feel as though he should be feeling pretty good going into this against Cyan. Currently, as we set up into this, Neeb is 2-0 in the group. I think Cyan is 1-3, if I'm not mistaken. He went 1-1 against Beastie and 0-2 against Guru. So, again, you can check that out on Liquipedia. It's not fully up to date. I'm going to try and keep it as up to date as I can during the breaks, etc. But I can only do so much because I've obviously got to try and keep on getting the game set up over here as well and starting the ads and all the rest of it as well. So, there's a lot to get done. So, when there is an opportunity to throw some stuff on during the break, I will make sure to update that Wikipedia if I get the chance to. We've seen this probe coming back over to the left-hand side, and we are going to be seeing just early on 2 gates apiece and Stalker production from both players as well early on. No earlier depths as Neeb's Mothership Core going to get found by these couple Stalkers. Takes one hit, will just back away, and is actually just going to sit down here for a little while longer as both players being very careful, very diligent. I used to love using that word. Very diligent with their scouting here. I love that phrase. I haven't used that in forever. But it's very true. Just looking through all the different corners, just trying to make sure there's no proxies up just yet. However, bit of a later pylon coming in from Cyan now, just behind this 4th base mineral line. It may look to continue pressuring with some more Stalkers. Already has his 5th and 6th Stalker popping out of the gateways right here. And that's very indicative of continued pressure, whereas Neeb goes into a sentry and tech instead of further Stalker production. So that's sort of the difference right now. Neeb will come down to the low ground, start a fight, gets the first shots off on those Stalkers of his opponent. That immediately puts him in a bit of an advantage. The sentry comes in as well. Neeb kills off one Stalker, doesn't lose anything just yet. And just going to be pushing those few Stalkers away from Cyan. So Cyan going to get pushed away. We've seen 2 more Stalkers from Cyan coming up on this 4th base right now as well. Nexus just over halfway done from Cyan over here as we see the Nexus of Neeb on the way up. Also, I thought that Mothership Core was about to die, but he does get it back home with the recall, and he can come down to use the overcharge on this low ground pylon as we see Neeb actually going back up his ramp. As we're going to be seeing him have to come back down right now, though. Pylon takes quite a few hits, still has enough health on it to justify overcharging, I think. Will at least soak up a couple more shots, forcing the Stalkers to fight it because of the pylon on it. Because of the overcharge on it, and so that just gives Neeb enough to help push forwards and push this away. Rebuilds another pylon, he's got another overcharge available, and there's 2 more Stalkers warping from Cyan, while Neeb still holds a pretty comfortable position. He's even starting up an Immortal now, so getting into a bit of a better spot. His Observer will spot these Stalkers from the right, he can reposition and get back into location. He's going to be seeing him again, just with better numbers, pushing his opponent back right from the get-go here. So those Stalkers get pushed away, he will retake this tower and continue to push those units back. Picks off one Stalker at the very end of this. Is Cyan going to go into his own Immortal now as well, setting up into that. But again, because he's gone for that kind of early stalker pressure, he's a little bit slower. He doesn't have an observer of his own, which at some point he will probably want to stop and make, so that will slow him down in immortal production even further. And also he doesn't have the Twilight Council down like Neeb does, and so Neeb is going to have a much faster blink as well. So those are Neeb's advantages coming out of this early game, where he just defends against these multiple stalkers with some very solid play of his own. Sometimes these stalkers can do good damage from Cyan, especially say if Neeb opens with adepts and tries to harass with those. Cyan shuts them down and then attacks with the stalkers because there isn't as many army units there for Neeb. But Neeb knew his advantages in that spot and he played it out well. Some nice catches, some nice micro, good decision making in general, and Neeb put himself into a good position in game number 1. To the right hand side, this observer just continuing to have a little bit of a look around, looking to see what else is going on. Twilight Council will finish up in the main base. Is going to be seeing a gateway added in just behind the mineral line of Forge on the way up as well, very early from Cyan, which is an interesting choice. I mean, the Forge is a building in PvP which you look at and you're like, well, the Forge and the upgrades are okay, but it's strange, right? Like, the Forge and the upgrades are okay, but in Disruptor Wars especially, which is kind of what we're already heading into right now, with Neeb going down the path of a second Robo facility and the Robo Bay with Blink finishing up soon for him as well, in Disruptor Wars the +1 attack upgrade is not going to make as much of a difference. Yes, if it comes down to the Stalkers versus the Stalkers, +1, +2, any upgrades are going to help out. But when it comes down to the Disruptors, which are the real force of the Disruptor Wars, then it becomes a little bit less influential because it's the Disruptor shots which are unaffected by the +1 attack upgrade which will be determining how the game goes. Neeb with 2 Disruptors already on the way up is going to take such a huge Disruptor lead. That could be advantages he could play with. However, he is going to be much later on the 3rd Nexus. Unless he doesn't intend to take a 3rd Nexus. Already starting to push across the map with Stalkers. He is starting to move in position, but I mean, these extra gates look as though even if he does take a 3rd Nexus, he may not be looking to immediately saturate this, but rather go and be aggressive, push forwards, and see what he might be able to get done. Loses the Stalker here at the front, will now start blinking to the south as he tries to see if he can get something done towards this 3rd base, which he doesn't know about just yet. He will see. He'll try and fairy tale a little bit. He'll target down a sentry or two. I mean, that's always a great trade if you can get those blinks away. As he picks off one, will turn and fight once again. Great micro by Neeb, pulling all of his lower health Stalkers back very early, apart from that one, which does just get caught by Immortal Fire and drops very quickly. Going to be seeing the Nexus again coming in on that 3rd base, and just going to be signed with the 3rd Nexus finishing very soon as well. Going to be seeing these couple of Immortals working their way through these rocks. Neeb just opening up pathways to make them a little bit more easy for him to kind of move around the map if necessary. He doesn't want to get caught in his base and get choked up or something at a later point in this game, especially with Disruptors on the map. Doesn't want to get into that sort of scary situation, so we'll just clean out his rocks, something that Cyan does not feel the need to do. 4 Disruptors now. Again, we're sort of talking about Neeb. 3rd Nexus, how much is he really going to utilize this? Well, he's still making probes, so he's still getting towards free base saturation. But he has built into a lot of these gateways. He did cut probes for a little while. He did stick on 46 workers for a while because of the later 3rd Nexus. And so he does maintain a 20-ish army supply lead attacking in right here. And yes, there's a +1 upgrade for his opponent, but he is down by 2 Disruptors, which can kind of make up for that +1 upgrade lead. So let's see how this is going to go. First Disruptor shot from Neeb comes forwards, hits onto an Immortal, which is a pretty big deal as well. As we're going to see, the next Disruptor shot comes in so much earlier for Neeb, it hits the Disruptor of Cyan as well, and he's able to take that down and cancel the shot coming through. 1 Disruptor left for Cyan right here, as Neeb still just poking at the 3rd base. So a little bit careful of the potential Disruptor shots of his opponent. As you see, 1 Disruptor shot coming in now. It's just going to start from too far away to really connect and get much done. 2 more Disruptors coming into battle though, as Neeb goes very far forwards with this Disruptors. He's going to go and, oh, the positioning is great. Gets rid of all the Disruptors of his opponent, and, well, the blink to the south side from Cyan is not going to do much at all. The Disruptor catches those Stalkers, and Cyan will type out GG for Neeb to take game number 1 of this best of 2. Neeb 1-0 up now. Psy expansion. I'm going to call you out. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Guys, let's jump into game number 2 of this set of 2 games. Does that go a little bit more smoothly for you in your mind? I hope so. To the top right-hand side is going to be our red Protoss player from Ting. It is the one, the only, Neeb. Down to the bottom left-hand side is going to be that teal, or you could say Cyan Protoss player. It is Cyan. So, game number 2, and this is going to be Neeb's map pick now. Last game, Cyan was very aggressive early with those Stalkers, but was unfortunately not really able to get much done in the long run. So, setting up into this second game now, and see what's going to happen. We are going to be rebroadcasting again tomorrow, by the way, guys. We rebroadcast today, but we'll be rebroadcasting these games tomorrow from probably 1 PM CET, maybe 2 PM CET. It depends how long the broadcast is. Basically, we will start the broadcast in time so that it finishes just before Nation Wars starts. So, you can, if you kind of have to go to sleep or something, we'll be rebroadcasting tomorrow, about 12 hours from now. Alternatively, if you do just want to watch the VODs, they'll be immediately available on Twitch. We do not subscribe or block our VODs on Twitch or anything, because I feel as though if you guys want to watch the games, we should let you watch them. Although we do also always appreciate if you watch the ad when you load it up, or if you really enjoy the games, again, you support in another way. But they are not blocked by any sort of paywall or anything, so they're freely available for you guys to check out whenever you would like to and whenever you are able to. There's 2 gates at the front from Cyan, going to be finishing up, and a probe from Neeb going to start heading on into the main base right here. So heading in towards the main base, these 2 adepts are coming up from Cyan. And that's going to be seeing the pylon coming down at the front from Cyan as well, as he sets up and looks to see how things are going to be going. 2 Stalkers on the way out from Neeb, and this warp gate currently being chrono boosted as well. Pylon for Neeb over to the right hand side, and we're just going to be seeing the probe of Neeb heading back towards the upper right hand side. So early on, nothing too crazy, and I guess we're going to be seeing a little bit of Stalker on Stalker action in the near future. Obviously, these first 2 adapts on Cyan are a little bit different to what we saw in the last game, so for now, he'll try and sneak past Stalkers of his opponent. He'll try and get in a position where he can pick off a few workers, while his opponent, Neeb, will be looking to do things the other way around, I suppose. He'll be looking to try and push those adepts away, obviously, and he'll be looking to maybe pressure with Stalkers himself. Depends how aggressive he wants to be. Nexus is already on the way down, but that can still lead into multiple different things. It's really about the tech, whether you stop making Stalkers or not right now. So we'll look to see that tech structure coming down. It's going to be a sentry out of Cyan, so he's going to be content with what he's on, as these adepts do shade away, keeping themselves alive. And he's going to drop the robo facility, so he's going to slow up on his own unit-based production as well. Next is about halfway done, and we are going to still see those Stalkers just chasing away those adepts. They do actually shade back up towards the upper left-hand side, and to just the northern side of the map in general. One Stalker sits on the right-hand side watchtower, one Stalker moving south, and again these couple from Neeb just pulling back and sitting on the ramp too, popping up in towards the main base. Robo facility is going to drop down here from Neeb in the main too. You can see those 2 adepts are starting to shade on in. 3 Stalkers though from Neeb pushing back and just doing a little bit more damage here, pushing those away. Robo's actually coming in to surround as no Shipcore Stalker going to be able to clean up over in this main base, Overcharge helping out with that. And well, you know, all said and done, players are going into very similar situations. Natural Nexuses are finishing. Both players have got Twilight Councils on the way. Neeb's just a little bit slower. His Robo a little bit faster, but very very... It doesn't really matter, basically. You know, it doesn't really matter for either of them right now. Kind of the exact timings. Small advantages here and there on either side. Blink starts up, starts to be chrono boosted, and Cyan once again going to go for the faster forge here, something we saw him doing in the last game. Didn't really come to mean much for him at all though, so he'll have a bit of a faster blink this time. Again, not going in towards those early Stalkers and pressuring is going to allow him to tech up a little bit faster. We discussed that a little bit in the last game towards the end as to how exactly that kind of had an impact and how it affects the way he plays in the game. Blink just coming up to being about halfway done as another sentry warps on in at the front. And we're going to be seeing Forge about to finish up from Cyan as well. So there's that Forge finishing. Plus 1 attack will begin. I'm going to be seeing the Stalker and Neeb just going to be moving up to this top side and just scouting around, looking to see if there's any proxy pylons or any sort of sign of an attack anytime soon, or maybe just an adept or a probe hiding around to build a pylon or to just shade on in to see what they can get up to. So Neeb just picking up some information, some map control while he can. He's got an observer out on his opponent's side of the map as well, which will help him spot a third base and tech structures. And of course this Stalker is also going to be watching this right-hand watchtower. And he's just got, in general, very good map control setup. Compared to Cyan, who, well, he holds a watchtower, but he doesn't really see outside of his own 2 bases, outside of that 1 watchtower being held by the Stalker, right? So that's all he really sees at this point. We're going to see this gate coming down just in the back of the mineral line. The gateway coming up here as well from Cyan, and just going to be setting up into that. Second Robo Facility in the Robo Bay is, again, exactly what we saw Neeb doing before, too. Very much so just a repeat of game number 1, just bypassing that early Stalker pressure. So, let's see what is next for Cyan. He actually gets a Warp Prism here. 2 more gates coming up. That's 5 in total on these 2 bases. And it looks as though Cyan might just go for a bit of a timing to try and punish the early Disruptor-based tech of Neeb, and try and punish the fact he's gone into a very fast second Robo and these 2 Disruptors. However, I think by the time Cyan gets across the map, it might be a little bit too late to really attack, because those 2 Disruptors are already halfway out. I mean, if he's looking to attack, then he's going to be attacking into Disruptors, and that generally does not work out too well at all. Those units do gather up together. The third Nexus is on the way up from Cyan as well right here. So Cyan up into that third Nexus, and again, just going to be seeing Stalkers, a couple of Mortals, these sentries moving around up the left-hand side. So, again, I mean, at this point, he might just be looking to try and delay the third base. May not actually want to push in too aggressively. Just have that +1 on his side to kind of work with as well, does Cyan. Very cautious, just backing away again, not overly aggressive. Not pushing the issue. Happy that his third base is faster. And that's the advantage he's got to play with right now. And the +1 as well. And again, those Disruptors are going to be so scary, as Neeb does see those units, and I sort of feel as though he thinks what I sort of initially thought, that this is a big aggressive gateway attack. Cyan isn't making any more probes, so while there is a third Nexus up, it's more so something to fall back to, more so than just a straight up kind of macro thing right now. You know, it's something you can fall back on later in the game after this attack. But as it stands, he's only on the 2 base saturation, he's only on the 2 base production, so he's really powering up into this. Again, I just don't see him doing enough damage with 4 Disruptors in the game for Neeb. As here we go, these Disruptors going to start firing. The first one gets target fired down. He actually blinks forwards to try and chase down the sentries. He'll get the Warp Prism. That was a nice shot, and he'll use the Disruptor to push back the rest of those units as well. He's actually given chase, and he's actually maybe going to be able to grab himself an Immortal. Blinking forwards here, of course, Neeb isn't too afraid to blink forwards because he's not going into Disruptors of his opponent. He gets rid of the Immortals, and now with his Stalker count and the Immortal of his own, he's able to continue working his way through his opponent's Stalkers. The Disruptors helping out a lot in terms of just cleaning things up nice and quickly. And now it's Neeb. He's going to keep on pushing down the right-hand side in towards the third base in the near future. Stalkers blinking in. We're just going to be seeing, well, damage continuing to be done. Stalkers adapts, these Disruptors will just be ready to go once again. This third Nexus, which was set up, well, it won't last very long here at all. There's the Disruptor shot forwards, and it does get taken down before it blows up. Actually blows up his own Adept in the back there, as Disruptor shot goes a little bit haywire for Neeb. Neeb maintaining and trying to supply a lead. I mean, it's not over yet. I mean, it's not a pretty position for Cyan by any stretch of the imagination, but hey, Neeb very nearly just blew up his own army once. Who's to say he won't try and do it again? But I mean, again, he takes down the third Nexus. His own third base begins to build behind this, using the Disruptor to push his opponent's units away, gets that Nexus kill, and pulls back once again up this right-hand side. So he'll pull back away up this right-hand side. More Stalkers are Cyan going to be moving forwards and looking to see what else is going on. Stalkers here from Neeb going to be poking in as well, looking to see what else they can get up to. And again, just looking to see what they might be able to achieve, but probably not too much really. As we maybe seen these Adept Stalkers looking to see what's up, and well, I mean, Disruptors do go down very quickly. Very aggressive blink forwards from Cyan to get rid of those, and I mean, the problem is the few Adepts mixed in here are just a little bit tanky. They add a lot of damage as well. Kind of surprised at how much Adepts do in PvP. I always find that myself. I'm like, I feel as though they don't do a lot against Stalkers and so on, but they actually do quite a bit, and just because they're so tanky as well, really helps out. Neeb does lose a lot. He loses all of his Disruptors, and that might be a little bit kind of scary for him, but he's still trading very well in the game. Resources lost is heavily in his favor. He can jump into the income tab here as well, but it's going to be very one-sided in favor of Neeb, who has just maintained that income lead for a while with his own third base up, which he is beginning to saturate after killing his opponent's third. Another Disruptor here gets blinked upon, but now he can just counter-blink with his own Stalkers and start trading once again. That said, without this kind of Disruptors coming into play, Neeb is fighting without the upgrade. He's fighting with only the 0-0, whereas his opponent, from that early stage of the game, does have the +1. So Cyan, that is one of the advantages he has to play with, and it's one of the things that's keeping him alive while he's sniping down these Disruptors. Against like 1 or 2 Disruptors, that +1 upgrade is very good, because it does more likely head towards this sort of position where it's going to be more so about the gateway units fighting against each other as the Disruptors get sniped down quickly. However, once you get past a couple of Disruptors, again, that +1 isn't so important because there's just those extra units there, and you're just less likely to get rid of all the Disruptors and so much more. As we see this attack coming forward, he actually blinks on top of the Stalkers of his opponent here. A counter blink will pick up the Disruptors, but the reality is there's too much here for Neeb, and he's going to win game number 2. It's a clean 2-0 from Neeb, yet to drop a map here in today's group of the OSC Championship. alongside